I think every CEO and founder focuses on talent, right? Because that's the single most important factor in fundraising and being a successful company. And it's one of those things that everybody's focused on in the back of their heads, but how often do we consciously emphasize it and strategize about how we can do better with our existing talent and get more talent? And I think the Unleash Talent Conference is kind of one of a kind in its perspective on talent for startups. And I think it's this incredibly useful conference where people can share best practices in kind of a closed, private environment. So I love this conference. I think it's great. Dave Cashin's comments on joy in the workplace it's so great. I mean, he said, it's not the first time I've heard it, but I love just hearing him talk about it because it's always a reminder to me to go back to the workplace and make sure that I'm an inspiring leader and make sure that we have a workplace where people feel like they're enjoying themselves, because work is such a big part of your life. Why be miserable?
I think for Cooley, it's important that we stay close with this as a very good representation of our client base. And I think the fact that everyone is so concerned with this issue of not only talent acquisition, but retention and how to move people in and out of a business properly, combined with the fact that there's just so much growth. I think that's just important that we're all keep track of that as we start through this new year. Yeah, I think that there's going to be, this year, CEOs, as far as talent, they're going to be thinking more about retention. There's always been this emphasis on acquisition, but when you do hire the right people, how do you keep them in an environment that is becoming more and more competitive? And maybe in that sense, smaller companies are going to have to start thinking a little bit more like big companies have about retaining, training, and some of the little things that employees think are important and will get them to stay. I think long-term employees are what everyone's looking for.
Kind of probably when you're dealing with a lot of the organizational issues and the people issues, the most important thing is the authenticity and the kind of rawness, and I kind of felt that it was very genuine. So people weren't holding back about sharing kind of successes and failures. So that kind of authenticity and the rawness was super helpful. At the end of the day, the people aspect of companies is the most important asset you have. Building a great culture, building a great team, your people are your single most important competitive advantage. So I think it's very easy to underinvest in your people, and kind of we all are busy, we all have great companies, but we can make them better. The Unleash conference is just a great forum to learn more about how to build an amazing organization and get the most out of that organization. So kind of Unleash is a real asset to me. I'm sure to many other people as well.